big changes are coming in update 11.0. Let's go for a quick summary on all that you have to know for this update. So there have been a lot of changes to the equipment and the consumables that I went through on a longer video already. Some of you will not have seen that, others will just probably not even remember. So let's really summarize in a quick way, and also I will add some more thoughts that I had later on. So stay tuned for that. So let's start with the main tank classes that are being affected there, which are the DPM tanks and mediums first of all, due to Rammer getting worse, which decreases the overall DPM, and also the view range of mediums gets worse. And apart from that, also the mobility of all tanks gets a little bit worse because of the mobility or engine power equipment getting a bit of a nerf. Second point, the Superheavies are losing armor. This has something to do with the armor and also hit point equipment getting nerfed, while at the same time all guns get better. This is due to calibrated shells having more penetration in the future, and also the guns get more accurate. This is due to a refined gun getting better, and also the gun laying drive also getting a buff to it. So everyone will have an easier time penetrating the Superheavies there. I really want to remind you here, change the refined gun on the next update if you haven't done so yet. In the next tank class, the light tanks do get better view range, which is just increasing the difference to the mediums, so that suffering class will get a bit of a buff as well. Lastly, the TDs also get some buffs here. The TDs will get better camouflage and also better traverse speed due to the traverse speed equipment getting a buff, while the engine power equipment is getting nerfed, so you should definitely make that change if you don't want to get circled. So for many tanks then it will be much harder to circle the TDs there that can turn faster, while every tank will get slower. And another tank class that you maybe were not too aware of, Autoloaders. The Autoloaders all get better again after the DPM tanks have been dominating in this past season here. The Autoloaders will receive a buff to the ventilation system, which means that you do have another 3% crew mastery on top, which just effectively increases all your statistics. Also, with the accuracy getting better, the Autoloaders that generally don't have the best armor will benefit a lot, since they don't have to peek out that often and will hit their shots more easily. And if that wasn't enough yet, the Autoloaders also get the intra-clip boost getting buffed on the duration, which will allow a couple of the Autoloaders to put out 2 clips with the intra-clip boost, which is an effective DPM buff as well. Okay, before we're getting to specific tanks here, I want to quickly point out, please change to the defense system on the next update, which will be a lot better than the alternative. Also definitely worth mentioning here, the special speed boost consumable receives a massive 25 seconds faster cooldown speed. Okay, you heard that Autoloaders, TDs and light tanks do get better. So the first tank coming to my mind there is the Batchet. This one combines both of the traits mentioned there. It is an Autoloader and a light tank, and it does get the benefits of each buff there. It is already one of the strongest tanks in the game for the experienced player, and it will have an even higher view range to the already highest view range in the game. Also with the interclip boost buff, it will have the option of putting out 2 clips just with a 1 consumable, which is just going to make this tank hilariously strong. I expect to see a lot of them in the tournaments especially. But we've got another tank that is getting some buffs and is also combining 2 of the traits. That is the Foch. The Foch is also an Autoloader, and that is a TD. This one also will benefit a lot from the accuracy buff, and it of course also gets the ventilation system buff here as well, and it also gets the special gear oil, and it gets a special speed boost and the tungsten rounds on top of that. If all of that wasn't enough just yet, this tank is going to be a lot more fun than it previously was. I am definitely very sure about that. Oh, and we're coming to one of my previous favorite tanks, which has been suffering for a while, the AMX 50B. AMX is also an Autoloader, of course, and it does get the ventilation system buff and accuracy buff, which is going to make this tank fairly more reliable and accurate. And on top of that, it will also get the reactive armor, which will allow you to go for some much safer trades with the enemies. Just keep in mind that the reactive armor does not impact the HE shell. So if you do get HE, it's still going to happen with a full damage and not any reduced damage like with the AP or heat shells. Next in line is a VZTD, which has already been very dominant in the last season. This tank does get a little bit of a buff due to being a TD, meaning it does have better camouflage, and also it does have the reactive armor, which is getting another buff. So yeah, you won't be able to circle this tank anymore either because of the equipment changes to the mobility. So VZTD is going to be hella strong in the next update as well. And lastly, the HoRi. The HoRi is also getting the sandbag armor, increasing the hit points, and it also gets the reactive armor, which decreases the damage taken. So this will make things a lot easier to trade. I don't think it's the best tank to use the reactive armor with, but still it's going to be nice to have occasionally. And I think HoRi will also be more fun to play, especially when you're seeing the VZTDs to your front, which you can just butter through with your insanely high penetration. And before we're leaving here, I want to mention that the Rinoceronte, an Italian autoloader heavy tank, is also going to be released with its next update. I've tested it already and I really like this tank, although it doesn't have the best DPM. It still has some good armor and it does have an auto reloader gun, so that's quite nice actually. But you know, I don't want to put out any false information, so I will go for a long stream on this tank, play it a bit on the next update, and then I will put out a tank review just to deliver the best quality possible to you guys. And if you still want to see all the changes, then maybe check out the long form video over there. Otherwise, see you on the next stream. This is Nino, goodbye.